send you my love with a dozen roses. Make sure that you knows it.
You guys like my shirt? My I Love Haters shirt? What? Hi guys, happy Valentine's Day. So unfortunately this year I am spending Valentine's Day alone. But, whatever, I thought it would actually be a great opportunity that instead of sharing the gift of love to a single person, I would share the gift of love to all of you. And by gift of love, I mean... Per usual, I was in the mood to drink, and I thought that it would be a great opportunity, since it is Valentine's Day, to come up with a Valentine's Day cocktail. And that's exactly what I did. And yeah, that's what I'm going to share with you guys, for you guys to hopefully maybe share it with your loved one, your boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, your trick, whatever, right? We're going to be making my Valentine's Day Martini, which is basically a twist on a traditional cosmopolitan. And yeah, so I guess let's get right to it. So what you're gonna need to make my delicious Valentine's Day Martini is a raspberry flavored vodka. I'm using Absolute just because that's what I have at my house, but Stoli or any other raspberry flavored vodka works just fine. You will also need Cointreau. If Cointreau is kind of expensive, so if you are on a budget, triple sec works just fine, but I find the taste of Cointreau is 10 times better than cheap triple sec. You will also need pomegranate juice. I'm using Pom Wonderful. I don't even know what other pomegranate brands there are. I guess you could use like Ocean Spray pomegranate, but that's more like of a juice cocktail. So this is definitely way healthier than that stuff, but whichever, if you're on a budget, use this or the other. You will also need a lime. We're gonna need some juice of lime, so 1 lime should be enough. And last but not least, you will need a strawberry to garnish the martini with. And that's it. A couple of other things you guys are gonna need: a martini or cocktail shaker to shake things up, a jigger or any type of other type of liquid measuring device. But if you are like my friend Sandra Lee, just guess. And I just happen to own one of these, but this is not necessary. A juicer, citrus juicer. But again, if you don't have one of these, your hands work just fine. Oh, other than that, you'll also need some ice. I also forgot to mention that the cocktail martini is going to be served in obviously a martini glass, so have that on hand. So when we pour it, it's right there. All right, so let's get to it. So get your cocktail shaker, and then you're going to need the raspberry vodka, and you're gonna need 1.5 ounces. So again, if you don't have a jigger or a measuring device and you want to Sandra Lee it, then just pour. Usually an ounce and a half is around 3 seconds, but that's the very rough kind of guess. So if you could use a jigger just so it tastes as accurate as it's supposed to taste, but if not, Sandra Lee it. So again, 1.5 ounces into the shaker. Next, you're gonna need the Cointreau, and you're gonna need 3/4 of an ounce. What did I do with my jigger? So 3/4 of an ounce of the Cointreau or triple sec if you can't afford the good stuff. And that goes into the shaker. Next, you're gonna need a whole ounce of the pomegranate juice. So 1 whole ounce. And again, as I said before, if you can't afford like whole pomegranate juice, I'm sure the Ocean Spray or like Welch's pomegranate cocktail juice works just fine. But again, this is healthier. And then last but not least for the liquids, you're gonna need 3/4 of an ounce of your lime. So if you don't have a fancy citrus juicer like mine, no problem, just squeeze 3/4 of an ounce. So you probably won't be able to see this on the screen, but 3/4 of an ounce, 3/4 of an ounce into the shaker. And then you're going to want to fill your shaker about halfway, 3/4 full of ice. Top it off and give it a good shake.
Just shake that ass, bitch, and let me see what you...
All right, so once you've given the martini a really good shake, so it's nice and cold, that's when you're gonna grab your martini glass. And then serve. So if you're familiar with what a traditional cosmopolitan looks like, it's hard to tell right now because I'm wearing a red shirt and I'm right behind it, but it looks almost exactly the way a cosmopolitan should be. A cosmopolitan is usually it's a little lighter, it's more like bubblegum pink, so definitely with the pomegranate juice, it's just a tad bit darker, which I thought was a little more appropriate for Valentine's Day. And then to garnish, there's 2 ways you could garnish. One, I thought maybe just since we used raspberry vodka, just dropping like a single raspberry, just so it goes to the bottom of the martini glass. But because I do not have raspberries, another way to garnish that I thought it would be cool was to use a strawberry. I'm gonna move that out of the way. And the goal is to make it look like a heart. So I'm gonna try my best to do that. So take your strawberry. And I mean, if you're gonna be making this for a few people, like if you're entertaining at a party or something, or you're just trying to get your date really drunk, you can keep the other slices, but I mean, if you're only making one, you only need a single slice. And because I'm putting this on the internet, I want the nicest slice possible, and I'm gonna eat that. But the goal again is to kind of make it look like a heart, which I'm not succeeding right now. So I mean, that kind of looks like a heart, right? And then you're gonna want to just put a single slice, kind of like 3/4 to the very tip of the V part of the strawberry. And that's so when you garnish it, oh, I think I cut a little too much. It can just slide on like so. So there you have it. That's how you make my twist on a traditional cosmopolitan. But since it's Valentine's Day, I am calling it my Valentine's Day Martini. In a traditional cosmopolitan, you would typically use citrus vodka, a citrus flavored vodka, but instead we substituted that for the raspberry flavored vodka. And then you would use triple sec or Cointreau. And then the other kind of switch we made was instead of using cranberry juice, we used pomegranate. If you are familiar with what a traditional cosmopolitan looks like, this is gonna be a tad bit darker, which I thought was obviously appropriate for Valentine's Day. So it's a little darker. A traditional cosmopolitan is supposed to be like bubblegum pink. This is kind of a light red, dark pink, if you will. So hopefully you guys can try this out. Let me try it out first. A little more tart than a traditional cosmopolitan since we are using the pomegranate juice. But since it has the raspberry flavored vodka, it kind of, evens things out, sweet and tart. But yeah, give it a shot, try it out, tell me what you think, leave comments below, and hopefully you can make this for your friends or your significant other, and hopefully they'll get tipsy and want to love you even more. Other than that, happy Valentine's Day, guys. I hope you guys have a great, loving day, and spread the love to everybody. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. See ya.
I'm so in love with you. Whatever you want to do is all